Hello folks and welcome back. Art of Cycling, Tour de France. I'm Greg Leach and we're on to stage 5 now. So here we go with the video. I hope you guys are enjoying the tour as much as I am. Yesterday was a wild stage with unexpected results, one of which means that this guy, the Mexican on the UAE team, Del Toro, is back into his championships jersey, his champion of Mexico jersey, out of the white jersey. And also, his team is no longer leading the team race, so no yellow numbers. I realized I hadn't mentioned when painting UAE yesterday. I think it was the painting, well, within the last day or two. I know I've painted some of the yellow helmets and yellow numbers for you and never explained why they were there. So whoever is leading the team race, and that's determined by the combined time of the top 3 members of the team, and so whatever the lowest numbers of that are, would of course be the leader of the team race. So that switched, and I'm sorry, I don't remember to whom. But that is a discoverable piece of information. So, but the UAE, not only did they give away the team race and Ozuzo his white jersey, but they gave away the yellow jersey, and all of the race favorites seemed to just let their positions go to the breakaway. An unusual occurrence. I don't think either Vingegaard, who's already done it once this year, nor Tade have ever lost a yellow jersey once they pulled it on. I know that's true of Vingegaard, but he tends to get it later in the race, which you can then ill afford to let it go. So this is the back of the peloton. I don't exactly know why. Del Toro is back here. He probably had what's called a nature break. I almost painted that image and then thought better of it. But, you know, of course, these are long, long days, usually 5 or 6 days in the hours in the saddle. So at some point, you're going to have to go to the bathroom, right? And that's usually done by just pulling over to the side of the road. And of course, you can get fined if you don't make sure no fans are there to see you do it. I mean, let's be real, they're in essence flashing the crowd, so clearly not something you want to be doing. So the reason I wanted to paint this will become a little more obvious here in a moment. But the two things that they always like, although no, that's not true. 2 of the crops down here, more over in Provence for the lavender, but sunflowers, or in French, turn de soleil, which I think is beautiful because it translates as turning to the sun. which is an apt description of the plant, right? So that's the general idea. So, and you can see that you can't see the Peloton. Some of the team cars back here. One of the Visma guys having apparently just gotten serviced by his team car. So it's an interesting stage today. Or could be said not an interesting stage. It is expected to be a stage for the sprinters. And so everyone is kind of taking it for the first time in the races behind the fastest times anticipated by the race organizers. They kind of publish this, and I use it too, on just how quickly they expect the races to arrive at the finish. Important information for organizers, police, road closures, all of that. So since it's been so hot, we actually had some shots of the hay already be brought in, but you know, what's the old expression? Make hay while the sun shines. And boy, has the sun been shining here in the south of France. Well, all over Europe, actually. So just working through first the warm tones, as I've said before, and then and just because this painting is more of a landscape painting, I'm concentrating on that first. You know, there's a tradition in oil painting to, particularly portraiture, that you paint what could be considered the background first, and then come back in and start doing the subject matter of the painting. Here, I think I'll switch to the red now. So, of course, Del Toro is back in the Mexican Champions jersey, so has the Mexican flag on the back of his shirt, and the front for that matter, and the sleeves. All right, and now I guess I'll get the flesh tones done first, and then move on to some green tones. I had mentioned this to someone once who actually was involved in the Giro d'Italia starting in Ireland a couple years back, 2015, 2014, probably 2014. And also wrote the bid that got the World Championships to come to my adoptive hometown, Richmond, Virginia, where Sagan won the first of 3 rainbow jerseys. Miss Sagan being in the peloton. Always an entertainer. He would, like most every sprinter, get dropped and go into the gruppetto on the big climbs, but as he would go over the mountains for the fans, he would pull wheelies going over the top of the mountains to everybody's delight. course, in some ways, the tour's gotten a little too serious for that now. That's one of the reasons the Shiro used to be more playful than the tour. Not so much now as professional cycling has just gotten more and more, well, professional. A little less playful. Was it last year or no, the year before? In a time trial, a rider stopped to greet his family and his baby on the side of the road and got fined for it still pisses me off. Got fined for conduct not becoming the prestige of the tour. Boy, did people bitch about that decision. Justifiably. It was bizarre. To come to such a decision that somebody can't speak to their family. Actually, I don't even think it was a time trial. I think it was a road stage. Nah, it couldn't have been that. They wouldn't have gotten mad about that. So just trying to get a hint of the sunflowers. I don't know if they're quite up to Van Gogh's level, but I think I'll come back and add some more yellow to it. Now I'll move into these copses along the side of the road, sort of breaking the fields. The stage has gotten a lot of long, straight, flat sections. I'm sure the peloton is very happy the wind didn't kick up, but boy, that would have changed the nature of the race. For those who know, crosswinds can really tear up a race, oftentimes causing bigger time splits than mountain stages. Because once you lose the wheels of the guy in front in a stiff crosswind, it's virtually impossible to get it back. So all along the stage today, the riders can see the looming Pyrenees. The sky is just hazy. The mountains and the sky kind of blend together. I hope that kind of shows that. So just putting a little bit of shadow, add some dimensionality to the boy, and the shadows are just straight down. Funny, Phil said it was 5 o'clock in the evening at this point in the race. I'm not sure I believe that. Not judging on the shadows right now anyway. Seems more like noon. Need to get the green of the rest of the flag. I did earlier somehow managed to get his flag backwards as he flew off the mountain. Maybe I was just, no excuse. I should have been paying more attention. think I'll get a little orangey yellow going here. So sorry, this particular, well, I'm not sorry, but this image is taking longer to paint due to the reason I wanted to paint it. There we go. Now we'll move to the blacks. We're almost done. Of course, I do want to remind you that I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment, question. Did have someone over on TikTok ask about the paper. TikTok, not Tic-Tac. Had somebody ask on the breath mint what watercolor paper I was using. So of course, I'm more than happy to answer any of those kind of questions. I just, while I was doing that, hit the wrong color in the wrong place. That'll have to do. So yeah, when you make a mistake like that, if it's fresh, you can throw some water in there and try to pull it out, but you'll never get it all out, but that's better. So I think I'll move over here to the black. Of course, now I have too much water on my brush. And again, with watercolors, boy, I would hate to do it at this point. You either accept the mistakes or you throw the painting away. Obviously, I've got a lot of time into this one already. So I would sure hate to throw it away. But that's also part, I do own a painting by this woman, Juliette Weave. It's a very realistic, fully detailed watercolor painting. That's just not my style of working. And of course would make these take even longer. I'm more interested in the quick, loose, gestural. Maybe that's just my nature anyway. So I'm like, my wife and I are different in that she likes to plan and go over, like even in sending an email. She'll reread blah, 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 blah. Reread it 4 or 5 times, edit, check it. I tend to, done is done. When I worked in theater, I had a designer, and I would use the phrase done is done, and her response was always, done right is better. Again, whenever I do these, I forget to title them. Calling it Enjoying the View, because I certainly am, and I hope that with the pace off again today, Del Toro is taking enough time to actually sort of, enjoy where they're racing. That's one of the things, and I know a lot of people watch the tour just to see the scenery of France. I mean, I know of a lot of people who that's the sole reason they watch the tour. I didn't sign it yet because I wanted to wait for that color to dry a little bit. His shorts to dry a little bit. So I did it. The other one I did, the date looks out of focus in the photograph, but it's just because it bled. Wanted to get the Visma kit here a little darker. And I want to get his shorts darker, but I need to sign it first. So for some reason I can't see all of the new followers' names, so can't thank you personally, but thank you all for started following, of course, or subscribing, I should say. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you all coming back and checking it out. I hope those who haven't yet subscribed will. I'm getting very close to an important number of subscribers, one that lets me start earning some income. So I hope if you're seeing this, you'll subscribe for yourself, but also for me. So thank you so much for watching, and take some time to enjoy the view. I hope you can get out there and enjoy one on your bike.